The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Fans think Glen Powell just confirmed the rumors.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. And today's deep dive is, well, it's a massive one.
Oh, absolutely. We are unpacking the anatomy of a modern Hollywood romance, specifically the absolute frenzy surrounding actor Glen Powell and actress Michelle Randolph.
Yeah, we've pulled from a really huge stack of sources to build a complete picture for you today. We're looking at celebrity news coverage from OK Magazine, Perez Hilton, MEAW, UNO.
Plus, all that detailed timeline data from Koimoy and GeoNews, and honestly, my favorite part, the raw, unfiltered fan reactions from Reddit.
Oh, the Reddit threads are wild. We're even pulling from relationship strategy guides from The Knot. Because our mission today isn't just, casual gossip.
Right. We are decoding the meticulous public relations strategy behind what we call the soft launch. We're looking at the grueling logistics of high-profile dating.
And how fan communities have essentially weaponized their role as digital detectives. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But wait until you hear how the internet's armchair detectives are pulling apart this seemingly innocent relationship piece by piece.
I mean, they are analyzing everything. Microscopic body language shifts, overlapping geographical footprints. It's forensic at this point.
Totally. So to understand how a relationship becomes a literal forensic battleground,
Right.
we have to start with the inciting incident.
Right. The main catalyst. This happened on June 20, 2026.
Yeah.
Michelle Randolph posted this multi-image carousel on her Instagram. Very unassuming caption, just for the love of June.
Which on the surface just looks like a standard, relatable summer photo dump, right?
Exactly. But buried inside that carousel is a highly calculated breadcrumb. There's this one picture of cherry red ballet flats positioned right next to a very familiar pair of brown cowboy boots.
Very familiar boots. And then another photo in that same carousel features Powell's dog.
Brisket.
Yes, Brisket, the highly recognizable rescue dog. He's lounging on a mauve velvet chair, and right on the table in front of him is a martini and a glass of red wine.
It's honestly a brilliant piece of modern communication. Because think about it, they didn't tag each other.
Nope.
They didn't show their faces at all, yet the internet instantly decoded the entire message.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the deliberate psychology driving this tactic. The Knot actually breaks down this exact phenomenon. They define it as a soft launch.
A soft launch. It's such a perfect term. It acts as this psychological and really a public relations buffer.
Yeah, because unlike a traditional red carpet debut, which just invites the media to audit your entire life immediately, a soft launch creates a heavily curated perimeter.
Exactly. You show a shadow or a pair of boots or a pet, it signals to the world that you're taken, but it deliberately denies the public the explicit high-definition details that they crave. I look at it less as a way to maintain pure secrecy and more like a movie teaser trailer,
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. Like when a studio drops a 10-second clip with just a silhouette, they aren't trying to hide the movie. They are executing a drip campaign to control the hype.
They want you talking about it.
Exactly. By posting those boots and the dog, they are actively generating a very specific, manageable type of buzz on their own terms. It's curated exposure.
And that curated exposure makes complete strategic sense when you look at their histories with the press, especially Glen Powell.
Oh, totally. His 2023 breakup with model Gigi Paris.
Right. It was so highly publicized. The media scrutiny was just relentless. And he actually spoke to GQ magazine later about the unique brutality of public breakups.
Yeah, he had that quote where he said, when a relationship ends in the public eye, they each go to their own brunch and they will each tell their own narrative.
Which is so true. He learned firsthand that once your relationship becomes public property, the breakup becomes public property too. You're just subjected to endless competing narratives. And Michelle Randolph is operating from a very similar defensive playbook here.
Yeah, she did an interview with Bustle recently where she talked about her active efforts to keep her work and personal life strictly separated.
Because she previously dated actor Greg Sulkin, right?
Exactly. So she's acutely aware that public perception rarely reflects reality. She made it clear that maintaining a strict boundary is vital for her basic sanity.
Especially in an industry that literally demands constant access.
Yeah.
So they're essentially compromising with the public. They acknowledge each other, but keep the front door locked.
Right. But, that June Instagram post wasn't just some spontaneous impulse. The soft launch was almost a forced hand at that point.
Oh, absolutely. If you examine the timeline of their physical movements from October to January, a public acknowledgement was becoming inevitable.
Yeah. And that's not even the wildest part. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming when the fans started analyzing these photos.
Oh, the fan theories are intense. But okay, let's unpack this timeline first.
Yeah.
Because the logistics of modern Hollywood dating are just an absolute nightmare of scheduling conflicts.
Seriously. According to the data from Koimoy and GeoNews, the initial whispers started way back in October 2025.
Down in Austin, Texas.
Right. They were spotted dancing together at a wedding rehearsal dinner, which, taking a new partner to a hometown wedding rehearsal, that is a massive logistical and emotional step.
Huge. You're coordinating flights, managing family introductions, and doing it in a semi-public forum where literally everyone has a smartphone.
Exactly. And from there, the geographical footprint just expands. By December 2025, TMZ captured them vacationing in Miami in coordinated outfits.
Coordinated outfits in Miami. And then immediately after that, they went to St. Barts.
Yep, St. Bart's for New Year's with mutual friends, which is a critical shift, right? Moving from an isolated hometown date to integrating into shared social circles.
Which is so hard to coordinate when you factor in their filming schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, the scheduling friction is intense. Powell is shooting a Judd Apatow movie, The Comeback King, in Savannah, Georgia.
Right, and Entertainment Tonight actually caught them getting ice cream in Savannah with his sister Lauren and her kids.
Right. Meanwhile, Randolph is filming the Taylor Sheridan series Landman in Fort Worth, Texas, so they're constantly bouncing between Georgia, Texas, and eventually New York City.
Coordinating a romance while anchoring two multi-million-dollar productions requires, military-level scheduling. Most relationships would just fracture under that pressure.
14-hour call times and constant flights.
Yeah.
But their shared understanding of the industry probably acts as a stabilizing force.
Totally. They exist in the same operational bubble. They don't have to explain the exhaustion of a press junket to each other.
Which allowed things to escalate smoothly toward January 2026. The Golden Globes. That was a major turning point.
Huge turning point. Powell attended the Globes with his parents, Cindy and Glenn Sr.
And Randolph bypassed the red carpet entirely.
Right, avoiding that massive wall of photographers. But reporters spotted her later that night getting into a town car with Powell and his parents to head to an after-party.
Which is such a strategic maneuver. You bypass the red carpet to avoid the highly formalized hard-launch photo op. But hopping into a car with a partner's parents after one of the biggest industry nights of the year.
Yeah, that fundamentally confirms the exclusivity to anyone paying attention. In fact, a magazine cited an insider claiming Michelle is the first person Glenn has been able to genuinely see a future with in a long time.
Wow. Which brings us to the viral paparazzi photos from New York City in June 2026.
After months of careful maneuvering, they're finally photographed walking the streets of Manhattan, holding hands, sharing a kiss, wearing very casual, near-matching outfits.
And notice how incredibly strategic those NYC photos are.
Yeah.
They aren't hiding in the VIP section of an exclusive club. They are walking down the sidewalk getting coffee.
It's highly visible, but deeply coded as down-to-earth.
Exactly. It actively neutralizes that Hollywood elite stigma. It paints them as an accessible, relatable couple, right as both of them are stepping into massive career-defining phases.
Yeah, Powell is gearing up for J.J. Abrams' The Great Beyond.
And Randolph is anchoring her Paramount Plus series. The contrast between their skyrocketing professional profiles and these grounded, mundane personal photos is a literal masterclass in image management.
It really is. The timeline clearly points to a genuine escalating connection. But because modern audiences are so media literate, they instantly recognize the mechanics of image curation.
Right. And the internet does not unanimously accept the relatable coffee date narrative.
No, they do not. And the friction between that curated image and the audience's skepticism is where this story gets truly complicated.
So true. If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
Yeah.
Because when you dive into the Reddit community, specifically the r Glen Powell subreddit, the divide among the fan base is just staggering.
It's basically split down the middle. A large portion of fans genuinely love the couple. They praise the subtlety of the cowboy boot photo. They swoon over the coffee dates.
They're rooting for them.
Yeah, totally rooting for a successful relationship. But then there is a highly vocal, incredibly analytical faction that suspects this entire thing is nothing more than a calculated PR stunt.
Right. And to understand modern fan culture, we have to impartially examine the arguments these skeptics are making.
Yeah.
Because they are detailed.
Very detailed. A primary focal point for the skeptics is the 9-year age gap. Powell is 37 and Randolph is 28.
And Distractify highlighted that while a 9-year difference isn't massive by historical Hollywood standards, the modern internet is just hyper-vigilant regarding power dynamics.
Exactly. Fans extensively debate whether Powell's longer tenure and established influence creates an inherent imbalance, framing it as a strategic mentorship rather than an equal partnership.
And the skeptics take microanalysis to a level that honestly rivals forensic science. On this one massive Reddit thread discussing a single photograph of the couple at an industry party, users completely bypassed the context of the event.
Right. They zeroed in entirely on Powell's body language.
Yes, they identified and named what they called his fingertips on the shoulder move.
Oh my gosh, I saw that. Skeptics literally pulled up archival photos to argue he uses this exact rigid pose when taking photos with fans at press junkets.
Or even with his ex, Gigi Paris. They leveraged this tiny, static physical detail to argue that the affection is performative, a pose struck for the camera, rather than a moment of genuine intimacy.
Which raises an important question about the intense, often disproportionate scrutiny placed on women in these high-profile pairings.
Absolutely. The internet has a long documented history of aggressively auditing the physical appearance of women who date established male stars. And Randolph is navigating the brunt of that right now.
Yeah. The Reddit threads took a particularly harsh turn when users began pulling archived footage of Randolph from her time on a reality show called Young Once.
Oh, right, where she appeared with her sister.
Exactly. They aggressively compared her facial structure from her younger years to her current appearance in the paparazzi photos. Some users confidently diagnosed perceived cosmetic procedures,
Labeling the relationship a plastic stunt, which is just wow.
but other users strongly pushed back against that narrative, attributing the changes to natural maturing and weight loss, and rightfully calling the critiques blatantly misogynistic.
Yeah, the pushback was strong. But some of these amateur sleuths even analyzed her facial expressions in the NYC photos, claiming she looked visibly uncomfortable and was simply playing a role to boost her profile.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are witnessing is classic parasocial behavior.
Oh, totally.
A parasocial relationship occurs when an audience member develops a genuine, one-sided psychological bond with a media personality. They invest massive amounts of emotional energy into following someone like Powell.
And over time, that investment mutates into a feeling of ownership.
Right.
And an entitlement over his narrative.
Exactly. So when a new uncontrolled variable like a new partner is introduced, that sense of entitlement triggers them to hyper-analyze every available data point. They're trying to regain control of the narrative.
So they look at a static, split-second image and genuinely believe they have the expertise to accurately diagnose the complex emotional state of the people in it.
It perfectly captures the emotional stakes for the audience. One Reddit user literally posted, "Right now, this is two warm bodies keeping company,"
And another user commented, "I want him with an Asian woman, me."
which completely lays bare the underlying motivation driving a massive amount of this skepticism.
Exactly. The intense rejection of the relationship is frequently rooted in the fans' personal fantasy being disrupted. They aren't actually analyzing the couple.
No, they are reacting to the loss of their own parasocial access to the celebrity. And this exposes the central, inescapable paradox of the soft launch strategy.
The paradox being that by offering a crumb of information, the picture of the dog, the corner of a boot, you don't actually satisfy or silence the public.
Right, you invite a feast of speculation. The vacuum of concrete information gets immediately filled with conspiracy theories, body language analysis, and deeply personal critiques.
The buffer you created to protect your privacy becomes the exact tool the internet uses to dissect it.
Yeah. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. You have millions of eyes on you. People are scrutinizing your partner's past, debating your body language, analyzing your facial structure, and projecting their own desires onto your life.
It's an impossible choice. If you hide the relationship entirely, you become a high-value target for paparazzi. The narrative is written by whoever secures the first blurry telephoto lens shot.
But if you hard launch it on a red carpet, the public dissects every flaw, demands constant updates, and basically holds you hostage to that public image.
So the soft launch is a desperate attempt to carve out a middle ground in a media ecosystem that actively resists the concept of privacy.
But as the Reddit threads vividly demonstrate, even the middle ground is a highly contested battlefield.
Yeah. The pervasive cynicism we see from fans is a direct byproduct of the entertainment industry itself. When you exist in an environment where your public image and relationships are heavily monetized, the narrative is
The default assumption from a media-literate audience will always be that your personal actions are calculated marketing maneuvers.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? We've mapped the grueling logistical hurdles of a bicoastal romance, dissected the defensive psychology behind Instagram soft launches, and waded into the intense parasocial backlash from fans.
And whether this relationship is a masterfully orchestrated PR rollout meant to keep both of their names dominating the headlines, or genuinely just two exhausted actors trying to protect their peace while grabbing a cup of coffee.
The soft launch has fundamentally rewired how public figures navigate love.
It leaves us with a highly provocative dynamic to consider moving forward. We've seen how a single, obscure photo of a dog in some shoes can dominate the news cycle and spawn endless forensic analysis.
Right. So if privacy is now being actively utilized as a marketing tool to generate hype, if intentionally withholding the details actually drives more engagement and obsessive fan interaction than simply sharing them.
Will the traditional red carpet debut soon become completely obsolete?
Does keeping a secret actually make the public care more than telling the truth? It's the ultimate tease. You give them a shadow, and they will write the entire script for you.
So true.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.